at randyradio.com. The Miller Media Group is an equal opportunity employer.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. My guest in studio today is Ken Frye, director of the Scovill Zoo in Decatur. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Morning, Ken. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, too.
I know. I feel weird saying Happy New Year 3 months and 2 months and 3 days into the year. But
and Happy Groundhog's Day and Happy St. Patrick's Day coming up. And
yeah. How you been? You doing all right?
Yeah, doing good.
Good.
It's been a decent winter and
good.
Not a whole lot of stuff to shovel out around the zoo. So that's been good.
Wonderful.
Other than the normal stuff we shovel out around the zoo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now, who do you have here?
Yeah, I brought in a bird with me today, and this is Irwin, the kookaburra, and from kind of tip of the nose to the bottom of the tail, he's maybe 15 inches long there. The main body area, maybe 10, 12 inches long. But it's an Australian bird. The kookaburra is an Australian bird. You can see he has these really pretty blue patches in his amongst his brown and tan area, and they're part of the kingfisher family. So they have these pointed beaks here on the front. They use for the kingfishers will use for grabbing fish most of the time. And he hit the newspaper just below.
Hey,
here
look at that!
Out.
Good job, Ken.
Yeah. Good job, Irwin. He hit the newspaper below him.
He just had this look in his eye, like something was going on.
It's
he really did.
Every time I pick him up, he shows me what he thinks of me, and but it hit the newspaper, so I'm happy about that.
Thanks for that.
And but he, being from Australia, their main food source would be like snakes and lizards and maybe fish, but they're more the reptiles and mammals, they'll eat birds or mice and things, maybe small birds, and they'll take that beak, they'll catch the animal if it's a mouse or something, and then they'll go land on a log or a rock and then just beat their head back and forth and the animal on the rock just to kind of pulverize it as much as they can, and then eat it from there. So do you remember the old song, the
kookaburra sits on the
old gum tree, Mary Mary king of the bushes, he laugh, kookaburra laugh, kookaburra how gay your life must be. And there's like 18,000 verses to that same song. And but yeah, that's the song about this bird right here. Yeah.
Now, okay, so he's turning his head a lot. I know with some animals, like they don't have like peripheral vision, so they have to like turn their heads to see. Yeah. Is that how he operates with his sight?
He can see pretty well, and if you look, his eyes are a little more on the side of his head, but they do pretty much look forward. Right now he's looking like where I'm talking into the mic right now, and hopefully he'll talk to us here in a little bit. But it gets really loud and deafening, and if he starts doing it and doesn't stop, that's the end of your show, basically.
Yeah, he's gonna break a mic, maybe.
Yeah, break a mic.
Yeah. He doesn't. He looks like he doesn't like me. Like I just feel like he's gonna jump over here.
It's actually women. He doesn't really is not that fond of.
Oh,
and your previous guest that was walking out of the studio.
Oh, that's right. Poor Paula.
Paula. Yeah, he saw her and he started calling out. He hadn't made a peep from the time I picked him up at the zoo and put him in the carrier here and drove him up here and came into the studio, and then she walked out and he started calling. And so,
hey, can I ask a favor?
Yes.
Can you put him on your other hand so the camera can see him?
Yes.
I'll let you maneuver a little bit. Ken Frye is the director of the Scovill Zoo in Decatur, our guest on the phone here for this morning. So, Irwin, how old is Irwin here?
He's about 5-6 years old. He was hatched at our zoo, and his dad is still there.
Oh, okay.
His mom passed away a few years ago, and so he has a stepmother there now. So
that's
Fred and Wilma are his. Fred is his dad.
That's awesome.
That
is amazing. So how, like you mentioned, it can eat snakes and reptiles, but mostly like mice. What do you feed it? How do you enrich this
mice?
Animal?
Yeah, he gets mice, and sometimes we'll put a fish in there, and they do change it up. We don't feed any snakes to him. We do have on our kookaburra sign out in the zoo. There's a shot of a kookaburra with a snake looped through its mouth, and that is from Fred the kookaburra. He actually caught a snake in the exhibit, and we had a keeper walking by and snapped a shot when he had the snake drip through his mouth. But he is down on the ground beating it on a rock, making it good and pulp and juicy, for him to eat. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you give him reptiles occasionally?
No, not as a rule. But if they wander through the exhibit, that the small snake, garter snakes, and things, if they happen to go through there, then they're taking their lives in their hands. Yeah. But,
so
yeah.
they
Yeah.
have that mobility.
Yeah. So a snake could get in, but they would hop down, and they're full flighted birds. Irwin's
Not your snakes, a snake.
A snake. We wouldn't put our snakes in there, but a Central Illinois snake wandering through the zoo.
Ooh.
Unaware that kookaburras are in this exhibit.
I'll bet that's exciting when that
Yeah.
happens.
It is. It's kind of, you always feel sorry for the snake, but it's always exciting that the birds are doing what they normally would be doing in the wild, and they're kind of in Australia. I've never been to Australia, but I've heard that the kookaburras they travel around in flocks, and they're deafening when their sound goes off in the morning. It's just deafening how loud they can be. And so they're really not thought that highly of in Australia, and a little bit of a pest bird. And I don't know if I'd associate them with a starling or something like that, but they do kind of hang out. Yeah, the cicadas. They just kind of, when they get going, it's really loud. But it's one of those wonderful calls that they have. It's you often will hear it in the background of movies. I was watching an old Tarzan movie made in the 30s, and you'd hear a kookaburra sound in the background, and from Australia in the African Tarzan movie. I was watching a movie that was taking place in South Carolina, in the swamps of South Carolina, and I heard a kookaburra sound there.
Oh,
the
wow.
Australian bird in South Carolina making.
Man, I'll bet you get them in a flock and they're making that noise. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh!
Yeah,
it's got to be terrible. Do you mind having him make a noise?
Yeah, I can ask him.
Irwin, you want to talk to us?
Irwin, hey, Irwin, want to talk? Here we go.
Sounds like he's laughing.
Yeah, and they are called laughing kookaburras. Yeah, and so they get that sound, and so that was me and Irwin. Sometimes I could get him to talk, and so but every fourth time that I do it, he'll do it for me. So
cool. Now, is that just a call, or is that is there like a nice?
Yeah, it's a call, and it could be just letting other kookaburras know that they're in the area, and to join them and get loud.
Are they territorial?
I don't know how much. I would imagine that they would be a little. Their flock would be wanting to control one area more than another.
Yeah.
But,
I feel like he's answering the question for us a little bit there. So cool, nice. Well, thanks for bringing Irwin, Ken. It's always good to have him.
I always like the heads. I don't know if you've noticed. Like the peafowl, when they walk, their head kind of moves forward, and then the body catches up, and their heads are always moving back and forth. So like, well, how do they see? But in essence, when their head goes forward, their body catches up, and the head's standing still. So and then they move it forward, and the head stands still while they're moving forward. So that so their head's not moving all the time. It's just the body's catching up to the head at certain points.
That's funny.
And he was just doing that a little bit here with my hand moving back and forth, and his head staying still. And
he's got like his tail feathers are very what's the bird I'm thinking of?
Like a pheasant?
Pheasant, yes, a pheasant. Yeah, very pheasant.
Not that long, but very that pattern, that dark.
That dark pattern,
brown, alternating pattern.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting stuff. Well, yeah, if we can keep Irwin out, it's up to you.
Sure.
But let's talk about.
Behaves.
Let's talk about other things at the zoo. How's winter gone at the zoo besides scooping and shoveling?
Yeah, it's gone well. Yeah, it's been very mild for us, and it's just a chance for us to do a lot of paperwork and planning for the next season, and like our education coordinators, planning for camps, and she does her volunteer classes during this time, starting in February, so that the volunteers are aware of birds like Irwin, and they get a mammal session and a reptile session and amphibian session, and then biome session. So they really learn a lot about animals and their habitats, and what that know-it-all third grader is going to ask them, passing through the zoo. And even if they're just running the carousel, they volunteers run the carousel on the train, and sometimes they just get animal questions, and knowing some of the answers, they know how to answer them. But if they don't know the answers, they can give a good, I don't know exactly, but I know like birds in general can do this, and so they can give some good intelligent answers to
now
people.
Has Irwin been on the camera before? Like not necessarily here, but like does he do TV appearances?
Yes, yeah. So he's our ambassador kookaburra, and
He just
Yeah.
seems like he knows where the camera's at, and he's kind of playing up to it a little bit there.
Yeah.
But no.
He knows where to look.
Yeah. So, but a big project at the zoo, and I'll tell you what, Ken. Let's not dive into this yet. Anything else, the herpaquarium exhibit? Let's dive into that after the break.
Yeah.
But anything else going on at the zoo this winter?
Well, opening day. Yeah, we're just kind of working towards opening day. We're about a month away from that, and yeah, that's what we're starting to get prepared for.
Which April Day is when? Opening
April
day.
1st. Yeah.
April 1.
Yeah.
Saturday, April 1. No fooling.
No
huh?
fooling.
No
We'll be there.
fooling.
No
All right.
joke there. Yeah.
We have April Fools around the zoo though, as just a little fun thing.
You know, we it's not that fun for us actually. We get a lot of calls on April 1st, and from people thinking they're pretty funny and say, hey, they'll give someone at their work, hey, give this person a call. They want you to call them back, and they'll call us. Is Mr. Key there? Mr. Donkey or Mr. Bear or Mr. Fox and
no.
like, no, you're being pranked. And it's funny the first two calls, but then the 18th and 19th call, you're like, oh my gosh, every year it happens like that. And it's just for us, it's just not funny anymore. So find another group to call.
Oh my gosh, that is
an
amazing
Fool prank. Yeah.
That is an amazing public service announcement.
Don't call
Probably
us.
the best one I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Don't call the zoo for your prank phone calls.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Holy cow. Ken, let's take a time out, my friend. How do folks learn more about the zoo?
Yeah, ScovillZoo.com, and we're on Facebook as well. So just check us out there.
And don't call the zoo for your April Fool's jokes. That's Ken Frye, director of the Scovill Zoo in Decatur, my guest in studio. Irwin, the kookaburra, in studio with us as well. Looks like Irwin's going back in the cage. More to come with Ken on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
New trucks and SUVs are here. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. Yes, we've been waiting, and now we have new inventory on our lot for you to see, with more arriving weekly. Plan your next new Chevrolet purchase. Just click on the pre-order tab. You'll see Silverados in 1500, 2500, and 3500. We have Equinoxes and Trailblazers as well. New Chevrolet inventory in stock now at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
Your own home without the maintenance. If you're 55 or better, a beautiful Liberty Village villa could be yours. This is Erin, and I invite you to come take a tour of our move-in ready villa. Click the Liberty Village icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Simply the finest.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
If you're looking for the latest in local hunting and fishing information, then join us for Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, Saturday morning at 7, Sunday morning at 8 on all WHOW platforms. Every weekend, we'll offer detailed Central Illinois fishing reports, and I'll invite you to share your favorite stories as well. Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, every weekend here on WHOW and on demand at CentralIllinoisOutdoors.com. Brought to you by Bob Ridings in Pana, the Clinton, Illinois Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau, and Locked and Loaded in Pana.
It's flu season. Keep you and your family healthy this winter by rolling up your sleeves to get the flu shot. The SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln is now scheduling patients for flu shots. They emphasize the prevention of future illness by promoting a healthy lifestyle and routine checkups. For more information or to schedule your flu shot, call SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln at 217-735-2317 or click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Forward for happy, healthy families.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Ken Frye, director of the Scovill Zoo in Decatur, is my guest today. And Ken, let's dive into, of course, we mentioned before we went to break, the herpaquarium exhibit got a nice facelift. Actually, I would say extensive renovation based on what you described.
Very extensive. So after Boo at the Zoo, our reptile house, the herpaquarium, we gutted, and I mean, literally gutted it. So from outside wall to outside wall, it was bare inside that building, and every exhibit was taken out, and all the animals were taken out, and the walls were taken down, and it was just a big hollow shell, And so in early January, they started rebuilding that, and there's been the framing has been put up where the walls are going to go, and they're finishing up some plumbing work now. So they've busted out concrete, and they're putting in some pipes and things. So it looks like a bunch of moles have been popped up inside the building. But when it gets done, I think the viewing area is going to be a little bigger. We covered up the skylight that's in there, so that hopefully you can be able to see in exhibits without any glare.
Oh,
and,
okay. Yeah.
And then that old wood paneling has been taken out, and we're putting in some more modern paneling that's washable and more better for upkeep. And what I'm most happy about is the exhibits themselves. So when the Burmese python, it'll have about the same or maybe a little bigger area, but more complexity to his exhibit, with some things to climb on and climb up and soak in. And so it gives them a lot more options on what they want to do throughout the day, and it makes it a better life for animals and reptiles in that building at the zoo.
Sure. Now, remind us, how was this project able to be afforded?
We had a donor come in and said that she wanted to help us renew the herpaquarium, and her parents had passed away, and it was probably a donation from her parents' estate that came to it, and that was over $100,000 gift. And so we started thinking of ideas of what we could do with that amount, which included some new signage and maybe updating the outside of the building, and some fixing some roof things and gutterings, and just kind of helping the building last longer. And then a grant came along from the state of Illinois, a museum grant that we won, and that added a lot more money, over $500,000 into that project. And so from there, it's like, well, let's just do it all then, because it kind of got us over that hump of it's expensive to do things anymore with anything you do. And so
particularly this last couple of years.
And it's a very specific type of thing. And so companies that are busy doing terrariums and aquariums, we kind of talked to a lot of them and finally found one that would help us work with that.
And I'll bet they're busy. I mean, a lot of zoos are doing things like this, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but being a smaller zoo, your project probably doesn't fall on the priority list when they've got maybe St. Louis or bigger Kansas City, bigger places like that calling them.
Exactly. Sure. Even with the contractor working in the building, they have the $500,000 project going on at Scovill Zoo, which to us is a huge deal. But then maybe another company in town has a $4 million project going on that they want them there working on, and they've got $4 million invested in, and so that company's priorities may be a little different, than ours. That ours should be the most important to everybody all the time.
Now, what did you find for cost on this? Like, as you started to get bid packages and prices and things like that, what did you find, in terms of the cost?
The first bid package that went out, the ones that we did get back were even higher than our budget was going to be, and again, we're like, man, but it's just aquariums. We're just putting in aquariums, one that you could buy for $50, but it's just kind of what they're doing to those, and the each aquarium has to have a different environment. Basically, one has to have more higher humidity, one has to be warmer, one has to be a little cooler and drier, and just being able to control the temperatures of each aquarium, which would be best for the animal in that aquarium terrarium area. And so and that's kind of where the costs started coming into play. And so then we kind of worked with some different contractors. Well, if you did this and you did this, and we packaged it together, and then it came into our budget, what we were looking to do.
Gotcha. Very good. Anything else on that, Ken?
No, it probably won't be done when we open April 1st, but hopefully within the next month or so, they'll get around to getting it done.
Now, where do I go to see the like snakes and stuff, the reptiles?
Well, you won't until they get that opened up. But we hope.
Well, then I'm just not coming out, Ken. So there.
When it does get a little warmer, we will get some of the outside reptiles out, like the alligators and the Galapagos tortoises, and they have temperature thresholds as well, like 50 degrees for lows is the Galapagos tortoise one. And so if it is getting into the 60s and 70s during the day, we'll probably get them out. And then if it pops back into the 40s or 30s, then we have a building we can take them into. And it's kind of same with the alligators. You kind of have to help them acclimate to the cooler temperatures, as well, before you get them out full time.
I've got a little puppy at home right now, Ken, and Irwin's throwing a little puppy tantrum in there. So
yeah.
he is not about this apparently.
No, he's kind
so.
of grabbing the bars of the carrier here and shaking it and then looking at you.
But no, when it comes to you can pull him out if he wants to be out. Like, I don't care. But no, it's with the like looking at the season ahead here for the zoo. Anything you want to mention for folks to put on their radar?
Yeah, camps. We have a lot of camps for kids, and we have one that goes year round. It's for 3 to 5 year olds called Zoo Buddies, and it's the second Tuesday of every month. So March 14th will be our next one. There's one at 10 a.m. and then 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. I'm sorry, and I don't know. I want to say guinea pigs is the next one, but I can't remember what the theme is. But each month is a different theme, and the kids get to learn about that animal, and they get to take a little souvenir home with them from that. It's about 45 minutes, and it's a good first learning opportunity for kids that age, being able to sit for a while, and the parents stay with them and kind of help them learn. And then on nicer days, they get to walk out into the zoo and see the animals out in the exhibit as well, and that they're being talked about.
Sure.
And our summer camps actually begin the first full week in June 5th through the end of July. So each week is a different camp. And those are going to be going on our website soon.
Yeah.
And so from ages 6 through 13 and a teen program as well. So go check that out.
I'm sure we'll talk about those more as the time gets near.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about opening day. I think we're not going to catch you until after opening day. So happy opening day, Ken.
Thank you. Yeah.
Where do folks go to learn about all things Scovill Zoo?
Yeah. ScovillZoo.com and then our Facebook page at Scovill Zoo.
That is Ken Frye, director of the Scovill Zoo Indicator, our guest. Network news on the way.
WHOW.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. A day after a jury found him guilty of murdering his wife and youngest son, disbarred South Carolina attorney Alec Murdaugh has been sentenced to life in prison, no chance of parole or early release. Jurors deliberated less than 3 hours before finding Murdaugh guilty of killing his 22-year-old son, Paul,